Red Ray Gun Limited presents
The Benji and Nick Show. Hello.
Hello.
Good morning.
Good day.
Good afternoon.
Good evening.
It's good to be here.
Good night.
Good gravy.
Good grass.
Good... goodness.
Ah, I see. Loch Ness.
Yeah, you got me.
You just kind of loft the will to live.
I did. Well, I thought to myself, I could start looking around and being like, good keyboard, good cup of tea. So in the end, I did what any goodman would do and resign.
Good. Well, that was the Loch Ness game. It's not a game, and it's not about Loch Ness.
But this is the Benji and Nick Show, your number one vintage television podcast in the known world. And I say the known world because, for all we know, there could be an even bigger, better podcast about vintage TV in the unknown world. Just some little sort of...
Well, I don't know about that.
...hut somewhere that's doing a really good job. Who knows?
You've got a dog barking there.
I wouldn't surprise me. I do out in the street, but everything happens on the street. There could be a marching band in 5 minutes for all I know.
By the way, today we're talking about, we're doing a commentary on Doctor Who Planet of the Daleks, episode 6, the final episode. It's 1973 Dalek classic.
No.
And special guest reviewer Shelley Dean will be joining us direct from the US of A to share her thoughts with us on it. And, it's going to be interesting because, as Shelley revealed last week, she's not really watched much classic
Very
Doctor
exciting
Who.
to know her thoughts.
Inferno was the first one she'd really watched.
Oh, Inferno.
She'd watched one. Inferno. I think she'd watched the very first Doctor Who story in it. And now, so she's going to have watched all of Planet of the Daleks to prepare herself for a commentary for episode 6. She's very diligent.
It would have been nice to have seen her reaction to episode 6, having not seen it for the first time. But then having said that, doing a commentary and trying to watch it at the same time is a completely different kettle of fish, isn't it?
It is. As usual, we'll make an attempt to contact our dear friend Jamie Anderson for no good reason. I don't know, he says he'll be available, but it's been a bit patchy recently.
Well, as well as that, in a moment, your emails will be reading out, sent to podcast@nicholasbriggs.com. But first, the Benji and Nick Show is proud to be sponsored by The Village Shop, the online e-store run by the Unmutual website, and Coit Media Limited, your one-stop shop for all things Prisoner Dangerman and Patrick McGowan, including DVDs, Blu-rays, books, CDs, audio dramas, clothing, photos, homeware, and gifts. New items are added weekly, and Benji and Nick Show listeners can enjoy a 10% discount on all purchases by using the code LOCHNESS10. That's Loch Ness, all capital letters, no spaces, with a 10 at the end, numbers 10, numeric 10. Loch Ness 10 at checkout.
John Merrick 10.
John Merrick, the Elephant Man. And a further donation will be made to Hope House Children's Hospice at no extra cost to you. The address, of course, is www.theprisonershop.co.diddlyuk.
Diddly?
.diddlyuk, yeah. So that's the normal extension, isn't it? .diddlyuk.
Yeah, okay. Well, I'm looking on the site. There's a nice book here called On the Trail of the Prisoner. It's a walking tour of Portmeirion's The Prisoner sites. This full-colour paperback book outlines and displays the series' filming locations and their location within Portmeirion. Contains exclusive and previously unpublished photographs. This book is the biggest-selling prisoner-related book of all time. Wow.
Well, you better add to that then and buy it yourselves.
Yeah, there you go. It's only $6.99.
Bargain. No wonder it's the biggest selling. At a price like that, what a steal.
Right. There's a really good new offer, which is Goodness 50 is the code. GOODNESS 50. Capital letters, no spaces. I will get you a 50% discount off Where Have I Been All My Life? The hardback memoirs of ITC actress Annette Andre, played Jeannie in Randall and Hopcoat. Only you, Jeff, only you. With foreword by Roger Moore. There you are. You also might like to go to nicholasbriggs.com, see if there's anything you fancied buying there. We're not going to have a look, are we? No, there's nothing new. There's loads of great stuff, though, and I'll sign it. You know what I'm saying?
He'll sign anything. He will.
Yeah, I will. Honestly.
Well, now let's go and check out your emails sent to podcast@nicholasbriggs.com.
Okay.
The first one, the subject is gibberish, which is always excellent. It's from our good chum, Thomas Hodden. How could we refuse a Thomas Hodden email? It says here, evening all. This is to confirm that Mr. Briggs has been invited to audition for the role of third passenger in the off West End production of The Taking of Pelham 1, 2, 3.
Have you seen the film?
Oh, no.
Oh, right. There's two versions of it. There's the classic old one with Jack Lemmon, which is brilliant.
What a name.
And then they did... You do know Jack Lemmon?
Man of
He's
mystery.
massively famous.
Jack
Lemon.
Oh, I know Jack Mellon.
He's very juicy.
Oh, he's brilliant. Yeah, he's fantastic.
Jack Lemmon
Two
and
M's,
Walter
isn't it?
Matthau. Yeah, I don't know.
I know
Yeah,
him.
yeah.
I've just got his
Yeah.
face up. Yeah, of course. Yeah, he was in Some
Walter
Like
Matthau,
It. Some Like It Hot, wasn't he?
Yeah, that's right. But Walter Matthau, it was the odd couple. Da-da-da-da-da. And I once saw Jack Lemmon walking through Trafalgar Square when I was up late catching a number 12 bus back to Peckham.
He must have been going to the fruit shop. What's the
What,
word
late
for
at
fruit thing? Green grocers.
Grocers,
Yeah, that's the word.
He was in the Cane Mutiny, which was a stage show on at the time in London, and he was starring in it.
Was that the one when everybody's walking sticks said, "No, I'm not. We're not walking anymore," and all the canes just refused? And
No, funnily enough.
Oh, it wasn't that one. Oh,
Yeah. What was it? I see if I've got the title right. We'll get back to your email in a minute.
he was in 12 Angry Men.
Jamie Anderson has just texted 10. I don't know what that means.
10 minutins.
10 what? Okay, that's
10-10.
Anyway, the Cane Mutiny. I'm going to write it into Goggle.
Now, I'm going to have a mutiny, and not a lot of people know that.
Yeah. It was originally a film. Cane Mutiny stage show. Stage. Right, the internet. The Cane Mutiny Court Martial. Is a 2-act play of the courtroom drama that was dramatised. Yeah. I sense you're not interested in this.
I am. It's just gone right over my head, actually.
Ah, interesting. Production history. 1988, Robert Altman directed another made-for-TV... No, not that. It was revived in Broadway in 2006. What? Well, that's really interesting. Perhaps I've just imagined all of this. There doesn't seem to be any record of Jack Lemmon being in it. There was a theatre production starring David Schwimmer.
That wouldn't have Jack Lemmon in it, would it?
No. He would have been dead by then. Anyway, why am I talking about this?
Well, we'll carry on the email. To answer
Oh, no, that's right, because of the Taking of Pelham 1, 2, 3. And the revamped version starred Denzel Washington.
That's a good choice. Good choice.
Yeah.
Great guy.
Playing the same part.
Well, it says here, to answer your queries about the role in order, this is for Nick's audition for the role of third passenger. Number one, the Wigan Empire Theatre is most definitely off West End. It's about as far off West End as it can get, so no, we will not be changing the posters. Two, the Walter Matthau role will be played by Bert and Ernie. Fantastic. At the same time, their songs, with the exception of We Are the Voice, are being arranged as duets. After 6 months, they will vacation for 3 months, and the role will be temporarily filled by Davros, who was meant to be Bobby Davro, but nobody noticed until after the contract was signed. 3, your musical numbers will include Hot Stuff, Gardette, the theme from Rawhide, and What the Sod is Going On. When not singing, you will join in with the kazoo chorus. The stage direction is supposed to read Frolics with Abandon and will be corrected before rehearsals. Mr. Ernie assures us that the cage full of weasels is an essential part of this process. I hope that clears everything up and look forward to working with you. Yours, T.E. Hodden. Well, I must say, I'm very excited to see the cage full of weasels.
Yes, part of Mr. Ernie's process. Very strange. Okay, well, moving swiftly on. Late word regarding Ice Station Zebra. This was sent on the 24th of August in the year 1212 by Kenneth Mann. Enjoying the podcast, but late catching up due to bandwidth limitations. While I would not argue that Ice Station Zebra is a great film, I feel I should suggest that perhaps the experience of watching it is not best suited to a TV screen. At the time of release, I think it was the only other Cinerama film on release other than 2001: A Space Odyssey. And the few Cinerama screens available really wanted to show 2001 instead, so it may not have got a fair shake. In common with 2001, it had overture music before the film started and an intermission, which the bum-numbing films of today could often do with.
The local is closed down now because they built a Cineworld in town. But we used to have a lovely old theatre called cinema called the Curzon. And it was lovely. It was tiny. It had 2 screens, and they were tiny little rooms with old seats, and it looked exactly how it would have been. But that was always nice because they used to do with modern films. They would have an intermission, which was nice, and come down with ice cream, or you could have a drink, and it's lovely. Bring back the intermission, I'd say.
Oh yeah. Well, it also enables you to leave if the film's really terrible. I remember one of the Superman movies. Was it Superman 3 or 2? Which was the one with Richard Pryor in?
I don't know. I'm not into superhero things apart from Batman.
Well, this is Superman from a very long time ago, back in the 70s, maybe early 80s. And I remember leaving. There was an intermission, and I just thought, I've had enough of this rubbish, so I left.
Yeah, I did that for Pirates of the Caribbean, one of those films.
I fell asleep during those.
Oh, they're rubbish, absolute dross. And the only Superman that I like are those wonderful cartoons from the, is it 1940s, 30s, 40s? Of
course you'd like those.
I remember they're very good. Very, very good. Faster than a speeding bullet. More powerful than faster than a speeding bullet. More powerful than a locomotive. Able to scale tall buildings and every something. It's Superman.
And a single bound.
That's it, yeah.
Do you know what Cinerama is, by the way?
Isn't it a kind of special...
it's super wide.
Size, yeah. Filmed in
brilliant.
Cinerama.
I believe it was originally planned with Gregory Peck as the captain and possibly David Niven in the Patrick McGowan role, but was delayed for some years, so that didn't happen. These were the days when everyone in the film industry was busy filming as many Alistair MacLean books as possible for reasons that now seem obscure. But since that craze left us with Where Eagles Dare, I shan't complain.
You're not wrong.
The works of Alistair MacLean represent an entire genre that came and went and is now as dead as the TV Western. In these books, and a few films, manly men with roll-neck sweaters battled villains in plots that involved extreme weather, flooded submarines containing Nazi gold, spear guns, women who found the men in sweaters strangely attractive despite being much younger than them, and the occasional exploding helicopter.
So true.
News agent paperback revolving racks used to be full of them. Absolutely right, Kenneth, I remember that. P.S. If you haven't seen Bad Day at Black Rock, I advise you to take steps to remedy this situation.
That rings a very...
Well, I sent you a link to it.
Yeah, that would
Meditatively stroking his stubble as a gale blows outside, said Ken of himself.
Hurricane whatchamacallit. Bad Day at Black Rock. I think Bad Day at Black Rock is always on the telly as well. I think it's on one of those... you can get like not the movie channel, there is a movie, but you get like the TCM movie channel or Sony movies. They often get it on there, which is interesting. Definitely check it out. We've got last one here from Christopher Latham. The adventure game is the subject.
Oh,
gentlemen, your use of anagrams for the word goodbye, bogey do, on the Big Finish podcast set me thinking about the use of anagrams in a similar vein, namely Doogie Rev. Which of course is an anagram of very good. What if there are any anagrams of Loch Ness?
Well, there's bound to be.
Anagram. Let's have a look. Loch Ness.
Doogie Rev.
Doogie Rev, Doogie Doo. Loch Ness. Let's have a look.
Have you found the anagrams generator?
I have. What on earth is going on my keyboard today? It's gone a bit bananas. Every time I click the space bar, it just gives me a question mark. Does it not know? Yeah, it's doing it for the other one as well. So it's a computer problem. It just comes up with chosen, Cohen, lesson. Who knows, quite frankly. Oh, weird, it's only on this website that it comes up with a question mark. How bizarre. Sorry, I'm just talking now.
I don't know what you're talking about there.
Yeah, every time I tried to type Loch Ness in, every time I used the space between the lock and the nest, it just gave me a question mark. How bizarre. Listeners of a certain age will recognise that this is the alien language from the early 1980s BBC show The Adventure Game, where UK celebrities and actors would travel to the planet Arg through a broom cupboard in Pebble Mill, the now defunct BBC studios in Birmingham. Does Pebble Mill even exist anymore as a building? Because I know that...
I don't think it does.
I think it must have been, completely... I know that most of
it was reduced to pebbles.
I know that most of the episodes of Pebble Mill are just gone, aren't they?
Are they?
Apart from that great one with Patrick Troughton and the special effects man from Doctor Who, when he just whacks a bottle over that bloke's head. Fantastic.
Where the Cyberman tries to walk through some glass.
The glass and just knocks it over.
It doesn't work at all. Yeah.
That's British television for you.
Sorry about all the pinging going on. It's Jamie Anderson sending me messages.
I thought it was the machine that goes ping. So say now, so would you like to take on the subject of a future podcast for the Adventure Game? I would love to hear Shelley's reaction to aspidistras, cheese buns and Drogna. All the best, Christopher Latham.
Lovely. Sorry, I accidentally just called you on WhatsApp. I don't know why.
Old fool. The Adventure Game is out on DVD, isn't it? You can get it from Network, I believe. I think you can. Can you? I don't know. Is it? Let's have a look.
I remember the Adventure Game as being, quite annoying. It was on after Doctor Who, but on BBC Two. You just switch over to it during the Peter Davison era, sort of thing.
It's not Network, by the way. It's BBC. Simply Media, BBC.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
It says on there, a Doogie Rev collection of brain-busting brilliance. Certainly one we'll have to check out at some point.
Check it out.
Well, thanks for your emails, and remember to send them in to podcast@nicholasbriggs.com. It's as simple as that, and hopefully we'll read them out. You never know. Now, I suppose, Nick, we better get Shelley, call the Shelley alarm, whatever that does, to summon her here.
Right, I'll do that.
Make the noise.
Where is she? I'll invite her now. There we go.
2 missed calls from Nicholas Briggs.
Yeah, that was a mistake.
I'm so sorry. My wife made a mistake.
Right, there we go.
I'll load up BritBox, ain't I? The British box.
The funny thing about BritBox, if you type in the title of the Doctor Who story, it doesn't recognise it.
Doesn't it?
Planet of the Daleks. Yeah, sorry, we couldn't find what you were looking for. It's useless. Such a useless website.
Absolutely useless.
So you have to type in Doctor Who, because Doctor Who is no longer one of the main options, which is irritating.
There we go.
And it's season 10, isn't it?
Season 10, episode 20.
What if I didn't know that? What if I didn't know that?
Then you wouldn't watch it, would you? You just have to. No, I think they've made a real bad move, in my opinion.
They have. We're very cross with BritBox.
In fact, I'm going to write them a poison pen letter.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Hello. I can't see Benji now.
Benji's he's in a TV. He's locked himself inside of an old TV set.
I'm stuck. Help me, please.
That Doctor Who episode. I'm hungry.
Oh yeah. The Wire, that's me.
Yes, that was it.
I'll do that bit of acting from...
remember that.
It's like the first Dalek story when they're looking outside trying to signal the Thals and they're going... And there's not really any glass there.
She hasn't seen that.
She has not seen it. She won't understand. No. It's just, never mind.
I've not got any of those filters that you're using.
Yeah, I gave up. After last week, I've decided I don't have the updated Zoom, and therefore...
I do. I updated it, and it says background and filters, and there are no filters in there.
Well...
write them a poison pen letter.
It just says none.
Well, there's a nun in there.
You put a pretty little habit you can put on with a little cross.
Black Narcissus. That's a famous nun film. I don't know whether anyone's ever seen that. Have you seen that? Black Narcissus? No? It's a classic old nun movie, that is.
One of the
It's a strange genre of films. So Sound of Music is one of them, of course. It's got a lot of nuns in it, hasn't it?
Sister
Nicholas
Act.
Briggs, of course, is the biggest fan.
Sister Act.
Yes,
Nuns
Sister
on the
Act.
Run.
That was Camille Cajuri was in that, wasn't she?
Yes, she was.
Right, let's move on. Should we get on with Doctor Who Planet of the Daleks, episode 6?
Episode 6,
Sure.
yes, and it's and so all you need to do is fire it up on your DVD player, VHS, your Blu-ray, whatever you've got of it, because there is a Blu-ray or BritBox. Get the episode ready, and what we're going to do is we're going to go 3, 2, 1, and on the 1 we click play, and that's what we do. So, we ready, everybody?
Nope.
You're going to do it, are you?
Hold on.
Yes,
I
I've
have
not had this much power in so long. The power to command such beautiful things.
All right, I'm ready, I think.
Okay.
Okay, Benji, you do the thing and we'll follow you.
So, 3, 2, 1.
Dun-dun-dun-dun, dun-dun-dun. All working, everyone?
All working. Yep. John Pertwee's fantastic face popping up there, looking completely different to how he does in the episode.
Yeah.
Yes.
Looking like he did several years before.
Well, I have to tell you guys something funny that happened to me this morning while listening to this theme song. I was listening to a local radio station, and they were doing the sports report, and the music bed underneath the sports report was the Doctor Who theme song.
Why?
Wow.
Quite frankly.
Isn't that
why?
crazy? I have no idea. I was just listening to it, and I was like, wait, am I hearing Doctor Who? Like, because sometimes I just hear things, and I turned the radio on.
Perhaps the people doing the sports reports look like the Spyridans here, and they actually were doing it whilst wearing purple outfits like that.
Can I just tell you that this section was used as a clip on Blue Peter about 2 or 3 years after this episode was on, which thrilled me immensely.
To see it with your own eyes once more.
Again, yeah.
It's the easiest cosplay in the world.
Yeah.
It is very easy.
Get a purple shag rug and drap it over your head.
I love all this stuff. It's utterly ridiculous, isn't it? There's the BBC Television Centre floor. Utterly ridiculous. Lots of wobbling around, but I still love it. I just love it.
I remember thinking these Daleks went really fast, but that's not fast at all, is it?
It's quite fast for Daleks, though.
Yes, that's true. That's about as fast as a Dalek will go.
Probably, yeah. Interesting, different eye behind it there. The eye stalks are different. What a boring thing to say. I love these corridors, all the design here. I think I said this early on. I just love it all. I love it all.
It's lovely, isn't it?
Little bits of metal. Here they
Do you
come.
think we should hear...
Look, a bit of his defenders broken and flailing off at the bottom there. And there as well. Both of them have it.
They're in a terrible state, these Daleks.
They
Shelley.
Yes.
They do
Come
look
on.
dreadful.
What? Shelley, come on, what?
Well, this is... What did you make of this?
I enjoyed it. I really did. I thought it was a fun Doctor Who story.
It's good.
Yeah.
We're buying that.
Yeah, no,
Do you see how they couldn't afford to blow up the Daleks, so they just pumped smoke out of it?
Well, if I were to criticize production value, then, that would be an entirely different conversation. But I'm trying to just take it for storyline. Was it something that held my attention? Did I enjoy it? Did I feel like it concluded satisfactorily? So I just tend to stay away from the detail stuff,
Yes, yeah.
It would be,
Churlish.
yeah.
I'll tell you something interesting here is that all of the their Thals here, their hair is a right mess from wearing those Spyridan things over their head. But you can tell that John Pertwee just wasn't having it, and his hair is immaculate. And
He's been coiffured again.
it really has, yeah. It's immaculate compared to the rest of him.
He's got great hairspray. That's what it is. It just didn't move, even with that thing over his head.
Rock solid. I think she's got quite funky hair. That's an interesting style.
Katie Manning says that she told John Pertwee to make his hair curlier like that because he was going bald at the back and it covered up the baldness at the back.
Lovely sharp picture, that. What a boring thing to say, I know, but I was thinking it.
Lots of toy Daleks, all of them the wrong shape.
Look at that. I mean, the Daleks just wouldn't have that piece of old rubbish in there, would they? They can't even reach it.
It's like someone's old fridge.
It's like an old fridge or an old blood machine or something.
A what?
I don't know. A machine that does something to your blood. I don't know. In the old film.
I thought you said a love machine. Sorry.
No, the Daleks have one of those. God, they have one of those everywhere.
I don't know what a love machine. I'm a love machine. Yeah.
That was what was on your job description, wasn't it, Nick? For when you got the job at the Doctor Who, Nicholas Briggs, Dalek / love machine.
Yeah, it's feeling slightly awkward now. One of the things that Shelley won't know that's worth mentioning again here, folks, is, of course, that so much of this plot is completely ripped off from the first ever Dalek story.
Almost identical, to be honest.
Oh, okay.
Terry Nation decided, because he thought no one will remember what I wrote 10 years ago. So this was his first Dalek script in years. He'd had a parting of the ways with the BBC. And so he just basically, I mean, the setting's different, but it's not. It's a jungle. It was a jungle on the Daleks' home planet in the original story. But the stuff with someone pretending to be a Dalek and all that, that's all been done before. And being trapped in lifts. In lifts,
going away from the Dalek base and then having to go back again because you forgot something or you forgot to do something is just, it's all that. Now, these Daleks here, this Dalek here, movie prop.
The Supreme
in all its glory.
Daleks.
That effect is just going wrong in so many ways, isn't it?
It's utterly dreadful, isn't it?
It's funny how it makes the Dalek look like a model.
Yeah, it's weird, isn't it? It's just so... The way as well they wobble off the ramp. I remember when I watched this for the first time and I saw that the Dalek had a torch for its eye, and I just remember thinking... what you've actually done there is make it look worse than it even is, and they all look pretty tacky, but it's just. I thought,
let's make it more impressive by having more things on it flash.
A domestic torch that doesn't even work properly.
You imagine we've said this joke before, haven't we? Every time the Dalek spoke and the light flashed in its eye, you imagine going,
Stop it! I'm loving Joe's shoes, by the way. They're funky, aren't they?
Any shoe comments, Shelley?
Everything Katie wears is always my favorite ever in real life. So this is obviously my first Joe Grant episode, so to see her be as fashionable as she is in real life is an absolute treat.
She's not listening, you don't have to be nice.
I'm not kidding, every time I've been anywhere near Katie Manning, it's a complete, I want those shoes, I want those pants, I want that jacket she has on. And I always say I want to be Katie Manning when I grow up because her fashion is just phenomenal.
She's iconic. She is iconic.
She's growing old disgracefully, isn't she?
Oh, and she's just the sweetest, most huggable human being on the planet.
Yeah.
She's also really funny. She's got a great sense of humour.
Oh, yeah.
That's what's wicked about her.
Yeah.
Unlike Lartep here, who's a complete wet blanket, isn't he? Oh,
laptop.
Laptop.
That's what I've been... Every time they say Lartep, I'm like, laptop.
How can he be so deeply and madly in love with her? They've literally been together for holding hands now. They've been together for about 5 minutes on a planet, and they've not had much time to talk. They've been running away most of the time.
Have you not seen Love Island, Benj?
No, I haven't. I do
That's
everything I can.
That's how it works. That's how love happens.
Yeah. Only without the death, destruction. And look at that rubbish bit of rubbish decoration there as well.
Of course, you're so harsh. Don't forget, there's been a week between episodes, so audiences would have a sense of it having lasted longer.
That's very true. That is very true.
Whereas when you watch it all together, it just seems a bit ludicrous, really.
Oh, well, in that case, then,
I had the plan.
I wonder how long that those two were stuck in that cell for.
Yes,
it's been 45 years. Oh, look, well, good luck with that. That one Dalek at the back just crashing into the others. This will help.
Yes, you imagine saying, that isn't helping.
Yeah, ow, stop it.
You're meant to be pushing the door, not me. By the way, you're wrong. This is not a prop from the movies.
Is it not?
No, there's a whole thing about the origin of this prop in an online documentary series.
Oh, gosh, okay.
And it's not. It's one of Terry Nation's from his home. I think it was. Oh God,
wasn't the Sugar Puffs Dalek or one of those weird ones?
It comes from the Curse of the Daleks stage show. and got adapted.
How bizarre.
Yeah.
The flashy one?
Yeah.
I mean, the absolute irony of it is despite the rubbish gun stick, it's in better nick than everything else in this story, isn't it?
Well, it's because they've done it up recently, you see.
Why didn't you think they'd just whack a bit of paint on the rest of them and give them a bit of a sand down, wouldn't you?
Too much expenditure. And also, they're thinking most people were still... It was interesting reading in Doctor Who magazine about colour transmitters in the UK. Most people in the UK were watching Doctor Who in black and white and on really crappy little television sets right up until the late 70s. Certainly I was. So it all looked fine.
Of course,
it looks much better in black and white.
I mean, I watched this story on my old telly from the 70s, and it does look great, actually.
Yeah. So, Shelley, what did you make of all this Dalek chat?
See,
it's going on forever, isn't it?
Something I did realize, because I remember, I don't know what episode it was in New Who, that they were saying the Daleks don't have words for everything, so their vocabulary is very limited. And so I'm watching this and I'm like, they're reciting Shakespeare. I mean, these soliloquies that they're going on, and the vastness of their vocabulary. I was just like, oh, okay, maybe something happened between then and now that they lost the ability to know every single word in the English language.
Yes, they're very loquacious, aren't they?
Yes.
And they speak... I think they were aware of that in this story. You notice, I think this is the fastest Dalek talking there's ever been.
Definitely.
Would you agree with that, Benji?
Definitely.
Okay.
I do think, though, the voices themselves, the effect is at its peak here for classic Doctor Who in terms of sounding really good. Of course, the next story, Death to the Daleks, they sound very different. The modulation's slower. The whole way...
More robotic sounding?
Well, it's
just different.
Not,
just different. Not as harsh, I suppose, is the way.
Yeah, they got the distortion just right in this. But yeah, the fast speaking thing, you can hear Roy Skelton in particular is constantly having to draw breath in the middle of lines. You're hearing all that kind of thing going on. Whereas Michael Wisher seemed to have much better breath control, I felt.
Michael Wisher was a lot more, he was more muted in the way he talked, and he was far more precise, I think.
Yes. Yeah, Michael was...
I think the worst creative decision for the Daleks happened in the previous story when they gave them little irises with little pupils. I just think
makes them look surprised.
It makes them just look utterly ridiculous.
It looks like they've constantly got their eyebrows up, like, oh.
You're like, oh. Like, I felt like you didn't need to tell people that that's their eye because it seemed pretty obvious.
This is where a load of other damage occurred to the Dalek props, where John Pertwee climbed all over them.
Probably gave him immense joy because he hated them, didn't he?
I was going to say, did you know, Shelley, that John Pertwee went on record as hating the Daleks?
What did he say he hated about them?
Well, I don't think John Pertwee really liked anything that stole the limelight from him.
Okay.
He got quite cross about the Master at one point and noticed that the composer, Dudley Simpson, every time the Master appeared, he went, gave him a little theme. And he complained. He said, well, I don't have a theme in the programme. I just have the theme tune. You do a theme for... He got over it eventually. But yeah, he never liked the Daleks. I think he found them very unrewarding to work with because they were just, there was no face. They were always bumping into things. To him, he just felt that they were...
I suppose in a way, he got a bit of a bad crack of the whip in the sense that all of his Dalek stories involve pretty irritating conditions, don't they? His first one was, going all over the grounds of an old house. This one is all through BBC Television Centre's jungle, which must have been a pain knocking things over. And then the one after this was a quarry, so they probably had his fill by then.
Yeah, what other luxury conditions? All the other stories had those conditions as well.
It's true.
I just remember that when he left the series, the headline in the Daily Mirror was John Pertwee, I can't stand the Daleks, quits. And I remember from then, it broke my little heart to hear that the man who played Doctor Who hated the Daleks because they were my favourite thing.
Wow.
We will enter very slowly. So for years, I wasn't happy with John Pertwee. Mm-hmm. But I've had a real rehabilitation with him watching the old episodes again, I think. But
Did he ever say what his favorite monster was?
the Draconians or the
Okay.
Ogrons. He liked the close fitting face mask where, expressions were possible.
Okay.
The other way that the Daleks just have a load of old tables knocking around as well.
Yeah. That's slow. It's meant to be menacing, but suddenly the Daleks think we're in a real rush to stop them blowing this up, but we'll go very slowly.
Don't want to scratch my paintwork on that bit of old wood.
Too late. Everything's scratched to Hades.
He's got
That
his
bomb
lunchbox.
just looks like a little Santa Claus outfit. That's every time I see it. It looks like a little Santa coat. Like it's got the red and then the white down the middle and then the white collar. It's not very menacing, is basically what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what I do love. I love that they've got the bit of the old Dalek left over there from earlier on. Where
Where?
you've got all bits of old Dalek.
Oh, yeah.
I think that's a very nice touch.
Hurry up, Doctor. It's literally right there. And why it's not shooting at us, I have no idea.
Here we go. Here's the terrible shot.
Ah! You think, maybe there's going to be an explosion here. Because it's suddenly on film. And where are they?
Imagine doing the music for this. Oh, for goodness sake. Padding. There we go.
Ooh.
Oh, polystyrene.
The Dalek behind is still fine.
Yeah.
Oh, Dad. It failed.
Oh, they've done new CGI versions of this, haven't they? I've not seen them.
I've not either, no. Mainly because they're hard to get hold of, and now they cost a fortune as well.
Well, I got sent one because I had some, there's the wallpaper paste coming piling in.
Molten ice, which
Yeah.
doesn't make any sense to me.
Didn't we find out something about this, Benji?
Yeah, that it is a thing. Apparently, it is possible or something. There was a
Is
listener,
it on a planet or something?
They sent in an email about it, and turns out it is actually a thing. So
I was hoping that you were going to say, give us some detail there, and you just ended up saying it's a thing.
They said it was, so therefore it is.
I'm no scientist. I got a double B award for my science in GCSE, and that's as far as it goes.
I love the way that the Dalek operators in all their anecdotes say, we used to have to learn the lines to flash the lights at the right time. Clearly not.
I think
Look,
I
it's
think they
talking
got
away and the light isn't flashing.
I don't understand what's going on there as well. It's just like whack it keeps it's going up and down and round and
Oh,
round.
the wobble. The top of it is wobbling.
I know.
There's somebody sneezing all over the glass.
Sorry about that. We are abandoning, but our lights aren't flashing while we're saying it because we're moving and can't be bothered to press the button. Oh, there we are. One came on randomly there.
I love that ship though. I think they should have kept that sort of design.
Yes, it's sort of a layer cake, if you will.
Ew.
Therefore, quite. It feels somewhat resolved too quickly, I feel.
I like the shiny glitter leaves that are hanging down.
It's an old tape.
You're going to have
isn't
those
it?
for Christmas.
Yes. See, look at all the tinsel.
Those
I
are
guess
definitely...
it grows natural in that forest.
Yes. I must take some of these home for Christmas.
Yes.
I think the jungle looks great. I still maintain I think it's a very nice jungle.
It's a very nice jungle. What you've all done very well with your jungle.
Well done.
Well done, children. Well done. This is the moral of the story here. Did any of the morality of Doctor Who leap out at you, Shelley?
Oh, I loved this. I loved this part. And I know a lot of people who have reviewed this episode or the serial in the past have, poo-pooed this little moment, but I really enjoyed it because it felt very...
Who are they and what are their names?
Yeah, mad.
I just, when I Googled, I Googled because I like to see what other people said about it. And that there was a couple actually that I read that said that, it just felt too forced and too whatever. But I just, for me, it was, it was the essence of, he was telling them, because they are something that is very unusual, which is a race that is trying to be peaceful, because that's like the antithesis of humanity, basically.
Yeah.
All we want to do is kill each other because, whatever.
Yeah.
But
I mean, I don't think it's forced. It doesn't feel forced.
No,
It's
I
still
didn't
sort of
either.
very
It's
natural,
it's
doesn't
the
it?
core of Doctor Who.
Yeah, I felt the same way.
I just find myself looking at John Pertwee there and thinking, good God, he was 4 years younger than I am now.
Are you serious?
Yeah. He would have been about 54 at this point.
Isn't that funny how old, like, that long ago, younger people looked older?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
I think it's all the smoking, probably, and all the boozing and...
Yeah.
I don't know.
I must stop all that.
Yeah,
Well, that's
see you
a
later.
very camp
Marta.
walk, isn't it?
Yeah, he's sauntering on in. Hey.
I bet they were really irritated that he got on board. So can't you stay here? You've got to deal with him the whole trip home now.
Moping around.
Jo looks like she's about to laugh.
That she was wincing because Katie was no good at not anticipating things being thrown at her or dropped on her. She always winced before it happened. It's in that earlier episode when the rocks are going to fall on her head and she blinks a good second or so before it falls on her. It's like Matthew Waterhouse being frightened of the explosion in Earthshot before it happens. Look, Doctor,
no.
I'm sure that this section was filmed during the filming for episode 1 or 2 because the Dalek voices are more subdued here and they were very subdued in episode 2, I think it was, wasn't it?
That would make sense because of those plants, wouldn't it?
Yes.
Squirty flowers. I wrote that down last week when you guys were saying something.
Nice
I
bloke,
was like,
isn't he? Squirty flowers.
Squirty flowers.
I love the fact that they've got to escape now and Terry Nation's thought, oh God, there's all these flowers and how are they going to get through? And the Doctor goes, nah, it doesn't matter. I loved the fact that the TARDIS couldn't be destroyed. I liked that.
I love the set. I think it's really... I think they could... I tell you what I think would have been nice if they'd have done more with the... You know, the bit with the lovely lights reflecting. They could have had a little lab there or something.
A little what?
A little lab. They could have had like a table with all things. He sounds really frustrated, doesn't he? No, defeated. The Daleks are never defeated.
See, the effect isn't so good either. It's like it was in episode 2. That's what I'm saying. So this is the arrangement of the TARDIS set that's from the Three Doctors, and they kept it for most of this. Well, kept it for this bit of this season, didn't they?
I really like it. I think it's I like the set. I think it really works for John's Doctor actually.
I included this scene reacted by Tim Treloar and Katie Manning for the beginning of one of my Big Finish Third Doctor scripts. Just had this whole scene in there, and then right at the end of it, the TARDIS goes out of control and they get thrown into another battle with the Daleks.
Imagine how irritated you'd be as well. Like, oh no, not again.
Well, that's why I had them with the story. They were they step outside the TARDIS, and then there are more Daleks. And they think, oh my God, how did that happen?
You'd be so knocked, wouldn't you? But Joe, that's Earth.
That's Earth.
So we had them watch this scene just before they went into the studio so that they could reproduce the... and then this is where the TARDIS goes wrong. Now!
This whole thing was invented so Nick could moonlight on the job and just watch Planet of the Daleks at work.
That's right. It's called The Conquest of Far, if you want to find it on the Big Finish
Conquest of
website.
Far. Well, there
I'm
we have
very
it.
happy with
We've
it.
completed a
Lovely.
6-parter. And I thoroughly enjoyed it. It just makes me so happy.
Yes.
Well, I question. When they were inoculating everybody, all the Daleks and the Spyridon. Were there plans that they were going to inoculate all of the Daleks that were in the deep freeze?
Benji.
It's a very good point, isn't it?
It's a really good point.
Okay, we're going to release this bacteria that's going to kill everything, and oh wait, we've got an entire Dalek army that, how are they going to be inoculated? Because it's 2 by 2. Like that one, wasn't it just that circle
unless,
thing
though,
that...
maybe they were already inoculated. Like
Okay.
when they were loading it up and freezing them, they'd be like, right, we'll inoculate those ones first.
because they hadn't
They had
worked that
just
out
invented
yet.
it.
Yeah, only just, yeah.
Oh gosh, yeah, you're right. Well, in that case,
Because at one point they're like, okay, now this is finished. We just finished this, so now we can,
Well,
It's
the
almost
answer
like
is
Terry
everybody.
Nation didn't think this through properly.
Because that really bothered me.
Yeah, well, this is what happens with these long old Doctor Who stories. They have a main idea, and then by episode 4 they think, we got to throw in something else now.
Yeah.
And he would have just been writing this episode by episode, bashing away on the typewriter. He thought, I know, they've got this big army. Let's the plots roll forward, but never quite, or often don't quite make sense.
Okay, well. If anybody has an answer to that question, I would like to know.
Someone will have made one up, but it's
Yes.
certainly not in the script, that's for sure.
Okay, all right.
one for Nick to write a whole story about there.
That's right.
There you go.
No, I like the idea of the frozen Dalek army. It's
great, isn't it?
It's
Yeah.
a really good idea. And again, all that, and it's interesting as well, like the virus side of things. How in the next story, their plan is to release a virus at the end, wasn't it? A plague missile.
Well, and that's how they got the planet in the first place, because that's what the Wester told Joe, that's how the Daleks, when they came in, they released some sort of bacteria and killed most of the Spiridon.
Well, it's something about the Daleks. They're not very nice, are they? Really?
No, they're not. They're not
pretty
nice
horrible bunch.
little squids.
They're certainly not. But I'm glad. So as a whole, you enjoyed the story. That's fantastic.
I did
That's
very much.
Fantastic.
I did.
It's one of my favourites. I've got very fond memories. I've still got a tape that I recorded of that from about 15 years ago. So there we go. Somewhere or another. On VHS.
Wow.
You still have a videotape player?
I do actually.
A
I have
VCR?
two. I have two. When they stopped,
gosh.
when they stopped making VCRs, I deliberately went and bought another one, and I've got it in the loft.
200 of them.
I've got it in the loft because I love. I've got loads of old videos, and I worked out it was cheaper just to buy another VCR than to buy all the gear at the time to digitize it. Or what boring thing to say.
No, and that's like people who have record players still. They like that, the sound that is only a record player can produce. They want that, Chris. The crinkly kind of sound.
I find VHS incredibly comforting. And also, I remember when me and my friend were both on the quest to kind of watch more Doctor Who, because we hadn't seen a lot of the classic Doctor Who stuff. I remember at the time that can you believe, it was when the DVDs actually started rolling out. We hadn't watched all of them by this point. So what we worked out was that it was a lot cheaper to nip down the market where they had all these old videos, some of them going back from the early 80s. So when everybody was getting excited about the DVDs, like, oh, this is out on DVD, we were just going out buying the videos for like £1. Be like, great, you got these. I remember that it sounds awful. There was one. I remember he phoned me up once. He said, I've secured the mother load of VHS. I said, what do you mean? He said, bloke I work with, he's going through a divorce, and it turns out he's got to sell loads of stuff. Anyway, he said he'll sell us all of his Doctor Who videos for £10. So I've just profited off this poor man. I hope he's doing all right now. But
He's remarried and has a couple more kids. He's fine.
yeah, that's very likely.
And he's got it all on DVD now.
Yeah.
I expect so. Yeah, that'll be the likelihood. Remember, he
I
also
still
said
have a lot of videotapes lying around, because when I was in high school, I worked at a video store, and I just acquired many videotapes, and I just held on to them. I don't own a VCR, so I have no way of watching them.
Oh no! Well, you have to buy one. You have to find one.
I don't know where I would even begin to find a VCR to buy.
Well, I think you can still. I'm not sure, but I've got and I've not used it for years, but I've got a VCR and DVD player, and the idea is that you could record the VCRs onto a DVD-R, and I think that's
it's a
the
burner
purpose
as well. Okay,
I think so. Anyway, I mean, it's I haven't activated it. Oh, talking of activation,
one of my favourite VHS
Jamie
that
Anderson.
I've got is one of the greatest music videos of all time from about 1984 when it was recorded.
Sorry, Jamie, I was trying to do a great segue into you.
Sorry,
just carried
I ruined
on
it.
talking.
Sorry.
It's quite all right. I'm not worth segueing into.
What was it you were saying, Benji? Would Jamie be interested?
You might do. Jamie, do you have many VHSs at all, videos?
I think I've got about 10, maybe. Oh, actually, that's a lie. I've got a crate of Terrorhawks VHS masters, you'll be pleased to know. So obviously I'll go and set fire to those immediately after this recording.
VHS masters, you say? That's
Yeah.
interesting. That's interesting.
What do you mean by that phrase?
Well, they were the primary source for copying of all video material when they were with Thames, I think, maybe at some point. Yeah, that was their master source. They didn't have prints or anything. They had.
So it didn't go to like
VHS
U-matic or
copies.
anything like that. It was just VHS. Wow.
Oh, there were definitely U-matics too. Dad had a great stack of players in his office when I was a kid, and the U-matic, obviously because the size of the tape, it was sort of industrial in the way that it ingested the tape. So
Yes.
the giant kind of cat flap thing would open pneumatically, and then it would draw the tape in, crunk, 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 and then the thing would shut. It was amazing. But I
So
haven't got
cool.
any pneumatics.
I worked a lot with U-matic tapes. That was the sort of primary non-broadcast editing format. And Keith Barnfather of Real Time Pictures and I used to do a lot of video editing. He was the editor. I mean, I didn't operate the machinery, but you could only be accurate to within 2 frames.
Really? Oh dear.
Yeah.
That makes for a crisp, clean edit.
That
So
sounds,
basically, you kind of go through and you'd see something, you think, there, and you just hit the button and hope that would work.
Do you know, I remember. So this stack had a wired control rather than an infrared one, and if you pressed pause on the control or even on the machine itself, there would be a moment as you heard it come to a halt rather than an instant thing. Yeah.
And there was a difference between high band and low band U-matic as well.
You're getting a bit too technical now for me. Sorry.
High band was like we used to dream of high band. We only used low band.
Still do.
Yeah, I had an old Tugs U-matic, which was the low band, and it was really disappointing because at the time of getting it,
Tugs. This is
Tugs, yeah, the TV show. I had no idea of the fact that there was varying qualities of U-matic tape. So I was thinking, yeah, this is going to be great. It's going to be real high quality. Got it back. It looked like garbage. It was so rubbish and washed out. And just even the bloke said, it's not going to be as nice as you want it to be. So there we go. Good old Colin. I don't know if he talks like that. He just emailed it and said that.
But that's how you read all of his emails.
Ladies and gentlemen, Benji is talking.
It's just, how's it going? That's just what people sound like. But no, yeah, I've got this old video. That's what I was going to say. I've got this old video of the greatest music videos of all time from about 1984. So of course it's like
there's like 5 made.
it's like, yeah, there's like a couple on there. But I just love the idea that even then they were like the greatest of all time. It was called that, the greatest of all time.
That's marketing.
It's just you just think to yourself, there's so many since then. Crazy, isn't it?
That's like people writing memoirs or autobiographies when they're like 25.
Which they do.
Of course.
I've started
Learned
mine.
so much. Yeah, okay.
Woke up yesterday.
What a shame.
What a shame. Going back to bed. Well, there we go. That was the VHS podcast.
Jamie, do you have a particular contribution to make?
I've got a nice copy of Best of British magazine here, which is September's issue, and there's a lovely article about Thunderbirds in there.
Is there?
Lovely.
Yeah.
I've got that edition as well, but my wife squirrels them away.
Naughty. Tell her off.
Naughty.
Anyway, so it's nice, and so it got some exciting things happening this week, but can't talk about them yet.
Will we talk about them next week?
I think is that allowed to talk about them next week? It's a bit pluggy, isn't it? But I think we should.
It's fine. It's all good.
It's relevant, probably. We'll make it relevant. So other than that, I've got nothing to add. I'm making a cottage pie with a cauliflower topping.
I wondered about the cauliflower topping.
Yeah. Add a lot of cauliflower to get rid of, so it's the perfect solution.
How do you get so much cauliflower?
I was going to say, do you have a cauliflower farm? Is that near broccoli?
Oh Oh, Shelley, that's the end. Get 3 points. For
You're
that.
welcome, everybody.
Out of 100. No, I just overordered cauliflower because I'm an idiot.
Did you tick the wrong sort of unit thing in the
Yes,
in the online order?
I
You got 300 weight rather than £3.
Yes, I asked for 300 grams and it filled it with 300 cauliflowers. So
I did do something very similar to that when I did my first online order back, I don't know when it was, very early on. And the guy arrived at the door, and as I opened the door, he went, "Oh dear." I said, "What?" He said, "I knew there'd be trouble the moment I saw this place." He said, "I was assuming it was a restaurant with an order this size." He said, "I'm guessing you've never ordered online before." I went, "No."
Oh, God.
So yeah, I got all what had happened in those days when the internet was still dial-up. You know, you'd set something and then you'd move your cursor away, and as you moved it away, it would alter something, but you wouldn't see it because the refresh rate was so slow. So, you know, I'd moved away from something and rather than units, I'd set it to pounds. So, you know, rather than 3 bananas, I got 3 pounds of bananas, you know, in weight. And I had enough potatoes to, you know, keep a fish and chip shop going for a week.
So did you open a restaurant at that point?
Yeah, well,
Did you
you
become
handle
a
that
fish and chip?
food?
this would obviously have been the sensible call at that point.
broccoli arms.
But no, what I did, the guy said, "Look, all right." He said he got the receipt out and he started crossing things off and recalculated and took things back.
Wow, that would
Very noble
not
of
have
him.
happened
Yeah.
here.
very generous.
And I said, "I'm so grateful. I'm so sorry. I didn't realise it yet." It was just masses of everything. I still ended up with far too much, but
That's funny.
I think that's a fairly common mistake. Well,
Apparently,
back in those,
yeah.
Back in
Smallest
those
mistake.
days,
Could have
anyway.
happened to anybody.
Well, even now, as Jamie just said, you know, sometimes you don't realize you're clicking like a weight instead of a unit, and you know, it's maybe not super clear on their interface, so it's their fault.
It's not the
Yeah,
dial-up.
let's-
It's because we're all idiots.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Well, inevitably, we move towards the topic of what we'll be discussing next week. I have an idea.
Uh-oh.
Has anyone else
Oh,
got an
no.
idea?
I think I know what it is.
Do you? Or what do you think it is?
The YouTube trailer you sent the other day.
Oh no, it's not
Oh,
going to be
no,
that.
it's not that. Okay.
It's not going to be that movie that we mentioned earlier in an email. I can't remember what it was called now.
It's called Bad Day at Black Rock.
Black Rock, starring Spencer Tracy and Lee Marvin and other people. I can't
Lots and
remember
lots
the
of other
name.
people. And a woman who talks.
And a woman.
But not often. Yeah. Well, I'm
Okay,
suggesting.
so what are we suggesting?
I'm suggesting we watch the first episode of The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy.
Oh,
the TV
yes.
series.
Yes.
Good choice.
Have we all got access to that?
Can you send it to me on VHS?
Yeah, I'll send it to you. I've got.
Fantastic.
I used to have it on VHS. It came with a big,
Me too. I
big-
still have
big
actually.
double VHS, wasn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Not
I've
that I
still got
trust
it.
the U.S. Postal Service right now, but to get it here in time.
One
So
could
So,
dream.
Hitchhiker's
okay.
Guide, Ep1.
I mean,
I'm
I'll-
excited. I love that.
Well, I'll put my cards on the table right now. That I loved the radio series. It was hugely important to me and is largely the reason why I do the job I do now. Road sweeper. That's a joke. Just had to say that because no one reacted. I thought, what's happened? Has the internet gone down? It was so hilarious, surely.
We got caught by molten ice.
That's what happens every time I crack a joke in inverted commas. So the TV series was a big disappointment to me because I loved the radio series and what I'd imagined in my head just did not appear on the screen. But
Often happens.
that said, it is time to reassess for
Okay.
Briggs. So let us move closer to the microphone. I just want to remind you to send your emails to podcast@nicholasbriggs.com. But from me, Nick Briggs, it's goodbye.
From me, Benji C, it's could be.
And for Shelley, it's bye.
And I'm off as well. Bye.
Oh, and for anyone interested, here is that opening scene from the Third Doctor Adventures from Big Finish Productions, The Conquest of Far. It's the third volume of Third Doctor Adventures, if you want to go to bigfinish.com to find it. Anyway, here's that scene that incorporates the final scene of Planet of the Daleks.
Joe, look. That's Scardo.
Yes.
Any regrets?
No. Not really.
But Joe, that's only one little world. There's so many hundreds of others to see.
There's only one little world I want to see right now, Doctor. That one.
That one? But Joe, that's Earth.
That's right, Doctor. Home.
Home it is, Miss Grant. Now that's odd.
Oh, don't tell me. The TARDIS isn't working properly again, is it?
It isn't that she's not working properly, Joe. It's just that...
Just that what, Doctor?
Hang on. I'm going to try something.
Oh! You really did mean hang on, didn't you?
Pressing stop now. Ka-chunk.